What if they're into you, but you just can't see it yet? What if all the little glances, the subtle pauses, the almost words, they've all been quiet confessions waiting for you to notice? We've all been there. You like someone a lot, and your mind becomes this overthinking machine. Did they smile at me because they like me, or because they're just being polite? Did they want to sit next to me, or was it just the only seat left? You replay conversations like detective tapes, zooming in on a laugh, a text, a glance, wondering, was that something or nothing? In a world where everyone's trying to play it cool, how do you know when someone actually likes you? Not just friendly interest, not just kindness, but real, genuine, I want to know you more energy. Welcome back to Psych Bites, where we decode the subtle language of connection, psychology, and the human heart. If you've ever felt lost trying to read the signs from someone you care about, this video is for you. Today, we're diving deep into 6 powerful yet subtle signs your crush might actually be interested in you. Signs that often go unnoticed unless you know what to look for. These aren't over-the-top moves. They're quiet, almost whispered signals. But once you learn to recognize them, they'll change the way you see every interaction. Because here's the truth. Attraction doesn't always shout. Sometimes it speaks in silences, in gestures, in timing, and tone. By the end of this video, you'll have the clarity to trust what you feel and maybe take the next step you've been waiting for. But before we begin, I want to ask you something. Have you ever missed a chance with someone, only to realize later that they were trying to show you they cared? What was that moment you wish you'd seen more clearly? Share your story in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because sometimes our stories are the bridge that helps someone else recognize their own. Let's begin. You mentioned your favorite snack in passing weeks ago, just a casual line in the middle of a bigger story. Maybe it was a random Tuesday when you said, "I haven't had sour cream and onion chips in forever. Those were my childhood obsession." You moved on, forgot you even said it. But the next time you meet, they hand you a bag of those very chips with a smile that says, "I remember." That's not coincidence. That's intention. When someone remembers the small details about you, things you didn't even realize you were sharing, it's a quiet form of affection. They're not just listening to your words, they're paying attention to your world. This kind of memory recall, from a psychological perspective, is a sign of selective attention, the brain's natural way of filtering what matters. And what gets remembered most clearly? Things tied to emotional relevance. So, when your crush recalls that story about your embarrassing 6th grade haircut, your love for vintage records, or that you hate Mondays but love cloudy skies, they're showing emotional investment. Because let's face it, people don't remember what they don't care about. Think about how many conversations you have in a week. How many details from others do you retain? It takes effort to store those fragments, those fleeting facts. And when someone is drawn to you, their brain quite literally prioritizes your words. You occupy a mental spotlight. This is more than just sweet. It's science-backed attraction. It means they're forming a narrative around you in their mind, piecing together your likes, your quirks, your rhythms. They're building a personal map of who you are because they want to understand you. And here's the real beauty of it. When someone cares enough to remember the little things, it makes you feel more seen, more heard, more valued. It's a subtle but powerful way of saying, "I notice you. You matter to me." So if your crush brings up something you said long ago, or surprises you with a gesture tied to a tiny detail you didn't even know you shared, pause. That's not small. That's huge. It's a sign they've been mentally leaning toward you, even when you weren't watching. And that, my friend, is one of the most beautiful indicators that you're not just another face in the crowd. You're someone they're starting to hold close, even if they haven't said it yet. It starts with something small. A random message pops up on your screen. Saw this meme and thought of you. Or maybe, that song you mentioned the other day, I finally listened to it. Wow. You didn't reach out first, they did. In a world where everyone is busy, distracted, and constantly juggling conversations, initiative carries weight. When your crush reaches out without prompt, it says more than any compliment ever could. It says, "You've been on my mind, and I wanted to connect with you." Let's pause there. Think about it. We don't just randomly talk to people. We reach out because we feel a pull, a desire to bridge the gap between our lives and theirs. And when someone initiates meaningful contact, not just small talk or convenience-driven chatter, but contact that deepens emotional connection, it's a sign they're emotionally engaged. Psychologically speaking, this ties into something called reciprocal liking, the phenomenon where, when we feel someone likes us, we naturally begin to like them more. But here's the twist. When someone shows interest through consistent initiation, it activates your sense of worth and invites intimacy. It breaks the passive waiting game and introduces emotional courage into the equation. Notice the quality of their contact too. It's not just "hey" or "what's up." It's thoughtful, personal, often tied to something the two of you shared, a private laugh, a previous conversation, a mutual passion. They're not just talking to pass time. They're trying to create moments. And let's be honest, we often second guess ourselves when it comes to texting first. We wonder, will I come off too eager? Am I bothering them? Should I wait instead? So when your crush chooses not to wait, when they put themselves out there emotionally to reach you, it's a soft but bold gesture of investment. They're giving you their attention without being asked for it. That's rare and powerful. Whether it's a good morning message, a link to a video they know you'd like, or a voice note just checking in, every intentional ping is a quiet declaration. You're someone I want to talk to, not because I have to, because I genuinely want to. So the next time your phone lights up, and it's them, initiating, reaching out, making that first move, don't overlook it. It's not just a text. It's a window into their feelings. It's a sign that somewhere in the middle of their day, they made room for you. There's a difference between having time and making time. One is passive, the other is intentional. And when someone's truly interested in you, your life, your world, your energy, they don't wait for time to appear, they create it. Think about this. How often do we hear someone say, "I've just been so busy"? It's true, we all have obligations, but even in the most hectic seasons, we prioritize the things that matter to us. And if your crush is showing up for you, consistently, even in small ways, it's a powerful sign that you matter to them. Maybe they rearrange plans just to meet you for coffee. Maybe they send a quick voice note in the middle of a busy day just to hear your voice or make you smile. Maybe they say, "I'm tired, but I'd still love to talk for a bit." That's not convenience, that's commitment in its earliest form. It shows that being around you energizes them, not drains them. They're carving out emotional space, not just physical availability, for a deeper connection. And here's the psychology behind it. Time investment is one of the strongest predictors of relationship interest. Social psychologists refer to it as the investment model of commitment. In short, the more time and effort someone invests in a potential partner, the more emotionally attached they become. Why? Because we subconsciously value what we nurture. So when your crush chooses to spend their free evening with you, even if it's just sitting in a car talking or taking a walk, they're not just being nice, they're investing. They're giving the most non-renewable resource they have, their time. It's also about presence. When they're with you, are they fully with you? Are they putting away their phone, engaging in conversation, showing curiosity about your thoughts and stories? When someone is truly interested, they don't just hang out. They show up, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They remember that time spent with the right person isn't a distraction, it's nourishment. So the next time they ask you to go for a walk or check in to say, "How was your day, really?" see it for what it is. Not just affection, but attention. Not just habit, but choice. In a world full of busyness and burnout, making time for someone is one of the clearest signs they care. And when your crush makes time for you, that's not just kindness, it's connection, and possibly the beginning of something much more. Sometimes the most honest parts of attraction don't come through words at all. They show up in the subtle choreography of the body, The way someone leans in just as you do, the way their posture shifts to match yours, the way they smile when you smile. It's called mirroring, and it's one of the subconscious ways our brains say, I feel close to you. Mirroring is a natural psychological response we often can't control. When we're drawn to someone, emotionally or romantically, our bodies instinctively sync up. It's the nervous system's way of signaling alignment, safety, and rapport. Social psychologists call this limbic resonance, and it's a powerful indicator that someone's attention is fully attuned to yours. Picture this. You're sitting at a cafe telling a story, and as you rest your chin on your hand, they slowly do the same without realizing. Or you take a sip from your glass, and moments later, they do too. These aren't rehearsed movements. They're unconscious reflections of connection, and they say so much. This kind of non-verbal synchronization isn't about mimicry or manipulation. It's about emotional resonance. When your crush starts to mirror your gestures, your energy, or even your speech rhythm, it shows they're deeply engaged, not just with what you're saying, but with you as a person. And it works both ways. People tend to mirror those they admire or feel close to, and they also tend to feel closer to the people they mirror. So this subtle dance can actually create a feedback loop of emotional intimacy. It deepens comfort, builds trust, sparks chemistry. You might notice it in how they shift closer when you lean in, or how their facial expressions echo yours, laughing with you, raising eyebrows in curiosity, softening when you speak quietly. Their body begins to speak the same emotional language as yours. It's not always instant, and it's not always dramatic. But once you start paying attention to the body language between you and your crush, you'll begin to notice those tiny echoes. And each one is like a quiet whisper from their subconscious saying, I'm right here with you. So next time you're together, observe without overanalyzing. Are they leaning in when you do? Are their arms relaxed, their eyes engaged? Do they smile when you laugh, even before knowing why? These are the little moments that often say more than 1,000 words. Because when someone mirrors your body language, they're not just in the conversation, they're in tune with you. Sometimes the clearest sign that someone is into you is their inability to hide it. You've probably noticed it before. Those slightly fidgety hands, the sudden stammer in their voice, the way they laugh a second too long or blush when your eyes meet. It's easy to mistake these moments for awkwardness or even disinterest. But more often than not, they're subtle symptoms of nerves. And nerves often mean one thing: they care what you think. When someone likes you, especially if they haven't fully figured out how to express it yet, their emotions can leak out in these small, involuntary ways. Their guard drops. They become more self-conscious. And the calm, composed version of themselves they usually show to the world, it takes a back seat because your presence genuinely matters to them. Psychologists call this evaluation apprehension. It's the anxiety that arises when someone fears being judged by someone they admire or want to impress. If your crush suddenly starts acting a little less polished around you, forgetting their train of thought, adjusting their clothing more often, stumbling over a sentence they'd normally ace, that's not random. It's emotional tension, and beneath it lies a powerful desire to be seen in a good light by you. Of course, nervousness can take many forms. It might show up as over-talking, over-joking, or even seeming unusually quiet. Sometimes people freeze a little, not because they're uninterested, but because their mind is racing 1,000,000 miles a minute, trying to avoid saying the wrong thing. You might notice them touching their hair, avoiding or intensely holding eye contact, checking their phone too often, not to text but to do something, or bouncing their knee under the table. These little habits are less about distraction and more about emotional overflow. And here's the important part. Nerves don't last forever. As trust builds and they start to feel emotionally safe around you, the anxiety fades and comfort replaces it. But those early signs of nervousness, they're often the first signs of deeper interest. Raw, unfiltered proof that you've got their attention and that their feelings are starting to form. So don't be too quick to judge the awkward silences or sudden blushes. That fluttering energy in the air might not be a lack of connection. It might be their body trying to say what their heart hasn't yet dared to speak. Next time you notice a stammer, a fidget, or a bashful laugh, smile gently. Let them feel safe, because nervousness at its core is vulnerability, and vulnerability is often the quiet beginning of something real. Time is the most telling currency of affection. In a world that constantly demands our attention, from endless notifications to overloaded calendars, choosing to spend time with someone is never accidental. It's a conscious decision. So if your crush seems to always make room for you in their day, that's not just politeness, it's priority. Think about it. When someone is interested, they find reasons to be around you. They linger after conversations, text you back promptly, and might even rearrange their plans to catch up, even if just for a few minutes. They're not waiting for the perfect moment to hang out. They create those moments, and often they do it without fanfare. It's in the casual, "Hey, want to grab coffee?" or the unspoken habit of sitting next to you during group outings. It's in the way they invite you into their life, bit by bit. Psychologically, this reflects what researchers call the investment model of commitment. When someone starts investing their time, energy, and attention into you, it's because they're emotionally invested, whether they've admitted it out loud or not. They want to build shared experiences. They want to be around you when they don't have to be. That's a quiet but powerful signal. And it's not always about grand romantic gestures. Sometimes it's them helping you run errands, remembering to check in after your big meeting, or staying up late to talk when they could have gone to sleep hours ago. These moments whisper, "You matter," in a way that words sometimes fail to express. Now, this doesn't mean they'll be available 24/7. Life happens. But there's a noticeable difference between someone who includes you because they want to, and someone who only fits you in when it's convenient. If your crush actively chooses you, again and again, even in small ways, that's no coincidence. That's interest. So pay attention not just to their words, but to their presence. Do they show up when it counts? Do they seek your company even when there's no reason? If yes, your presence isn't just tolerated, it's cherished. Because when someone prioritizes you, they're telling you something quietly but profoundly. You're not just a part of my day, you're the part I look forward to most. So, let's take a moment and step back. We've walked through 6 subtle but powerful signs that your crush might be into you. Signs that don't always come with fireworks and grand gestures, but instead show up in the quiet, consistent ways they connect with you. They remember the little things, those offhand comments and personal stories you barely expected anyone to hold on to. That alone tells you something about their focus, their selective attention, and where you fit in it. They initiate contact and keep the conversation going, not out of obligation, but because they want to know more about you, to hear your thoughts, your voice, your heart. We also looked at how they mirror your energy, body language, or even your sense of humor. That subconscious syncing, it's a deeply human way of building rapport and connection. When someone reflects you, they're saying, often without realizing it, "I feel safe with you." They also make an effort to include you in their world. Whether it's inviting you to something they love or wanting to be a part of something you care about, that's no small thing. It's emotional generosity. It's interest with action. You probably noticed how they light up around you. Their smiles linger longer. Their eyes search for you across the room. That glow? It's not about just attraction. It's about emotional presence. You affect them. You inspire a reaction. And lastly, they prioritize time with you. Not because they're free, but because you're worth making time for. That, above all, might be the clearest sign they see you as more than a casual presence. Now, does your crush tick every box? Maybe, maybe not. People express interest in different ways, and sometimes fear, timing, or past hurt can make these signals hard to send or see. But when these signs start stacking up, you're not imagining it. There's a real connection starting to take shape. And if your heart's been waiting for confirmation, something to help you trust what you're sensing, maybe this was it. Before you go, I want to invite you to take it one step further. If you're wondering how to respond to these signs, how to subtly but confidently catch their attention in return, then you'll love our video on how to grab your crush's attention, psychology-backed tips that work. It's full of practical, heart-centered advice to help you feel confident and intentional in your next move. You don't want to miss that. And hey, if this video helped you see your situation a little more clearly, please give it a like, drop a comment, and share your thoughts. Have you noticed any of these signs before? Were they accurate? Let's talk in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. If you're new here or haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Psych Bites is all about love, connection, and becoming your most emotionally intelligent self, so you never have to guess where you stand again. Thanks for spending this time with us. We'll see you in the next one.